Welcome to episode 28 of Swiss Army Sports. Today is December 7th in the Big 25. I'm your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, Osprey Governors, and partially Houston Cougars. Joined by my side at the table is former offensive lineman for the Hendrix College Warriors, current man of electricity, Luke Wallman, and joined virtually, as always, our third member of the broadcast team, Chase Cross, former kicker for the Houston Christian Huskies and Troy Trojans, nephew of the greatest Sunbelt coach of all time, Scott Cross. There's a lot to unpack today, boys. There is a lot to unpack. I was in the group chat last night telling y'all were stupid for thinking Miami was going to get in. Apparently, I'm the dumbass. Or is the committee just a little bit shady? We'll get into that. Reese Davis said everything I had on my mind.
Yeah, I know. Applaud the hell.
Yeah, he said everything I had on my mind. So I appreciate that. So we're going to give a little recap of the conference championship games and the pick'ems. Spoiler alert, I am in the punishment zone. It ended up pretty much the worst way possible, but I'll get into it. This really shouldn't have happened, but I'll get into it. The dogs of the week for this week, Swiss Army Sports Top 25, our last edition until the end of the season. We will release an end of the season Top 25, but until then, this is our last edition. Bracket reaction. I'm sure there's a lot to be reacted about. I mean, some head-scratching moves. Some teams got punished for losing in their conference championship game.
Others didn't.
One team didn't. It's pretty much just one.
Yeah.
Our CFB predictions. I mean, the bracket is what it is. We'll make what we got of it. Fun Mount Rushmore today. Fast food restaurants. I feel like it's going to be a banger of a Mount Rushmore for the boys. Week 14 NFL recap. A very strange week in the NFL. Teams of the week and teams of the week. Monday Night Football preview and best bets. Our college basketball picks recap. And yes, the producer is still on an absolute generational heater on these college basketball picks. Swiss Army Sports College Basketball Top 25. Banger of a pay-per-view in the UFC last night. Our UFC 323 recap. World Cup draw. We had a fun time watching this on Friday. I'm sure, Chase, you did as well. The theatrics are what they are. I wish it was a little bit more sped up because I was eager to get to the draw. But once the draw occurred, it's fun just to look at these groups and, kind of hypothesize, who's going to be the top two, who's going to be the top couple third teams to get through. There is a group of depth, in my opinion. We will see if me and Chase agree on which group that is. And then the best of the weekend. Let's get right into it. We started off Friday night. It was a much better game than the nation anticipated. Troy headed to James Madison to play him in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. And this was a close game until the fourth quarter, until James Madison rattled out like 17 points straight. Story of the game, though, is snowballs. I thought it was absolutely atrocious that there was nothing done after our dear friend, Evix, Evan Crenshaw, the punter of Troy University, was pelted with snowballs in the end zone, which, directly affected field positioning, gave basically JMU 3 free points. Everybody was on JMU here except Chase. He was hopeful, went with Troy. And, for the longest time, I kind of thought Troy had a shot to pull this off. I think where it went south, Chase, I'll let you answer on this first, and then Luke. I think it went south, not just Goose going out, because, that hurts, but I think Tucker could have gotten the job done. Eli Russ going down, I think, was really the nail in the coffin for us in terms of Troy. Caleb Ash looked like Helen Keller out there. He was getting put in a blender on every play, protecting the wrong people on pass pro, not protecting the right way on runs. He looked like a JV high schooler out there in a Division I football game. So, Chase, what were your takes away from the Sun Belt Conference Championship game?
Obviously, it sucks to be so close. I felt like Troy had so many opportunities to come away, especially in that first half, to really take the game by the horns and start running away with it. And I just felt like there was a lot of missed opportunities, obviously down in the red zone. And when you've got a really good team like JMU is not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. They're a really good football team. So when you're playing a football team of that caliber, you have to, every time you get down in that red zone, You have to convert every time you get an opportunity. When JMU turns it over, when JMU was punting, you have to put points up. And Troy just missed too many big opportunities through the stretch of the game, and that allowed JMU to come away with the victory.
Yeah. Do you also feel like that turning point though was that tackle injury? I just feel like we couldn't protect anything after that moment.
Of course, 100%, 100% was the turning point.
Luke, any takeaways?
Props to Troy. Their defense really stepped up.
I think so too. The mighty Trojan defense really did step up.
Shut JMU
also,
down. I mean,
shout out-
if the offense had stepped up a little bit and can at least possess the ball a little bit more, I think this game would have gone Troy's favor. I thought the defense played phenomenally well, though.
Yeah, and then I want to shout out that Troy player. Went after the game, that lady. It's like
Lou Medina.
dude, savage dude. Which honestly, like, I don't really know what you're trying to do. Put a camera in his face as he's walking off. I mean, obviously you can't do that, but still, I thought it was funny that he did. But Troy defense played really well. I was genuinely shocked that was that low scoring. But shout out Troy. I mean, great season.
It was, especially for how I thought the season was going to go. I think we can definitely hold our heads up high as Treasure Nation. You know who can hold their heads up high? Jacksonville State. And let me dig into this one. Kennesaw State went into Jacksonville State and beat them in their home stadium in Alabama. Luke and Chase had this one right. Me and the producer had it wrong. This was essentially what kept me from at least tying Luke and forcing an Army-Navy playoff. If you didn't catch this game on the CBS Sports Network, it was a very low-scoring affair.
It was.
We had a safety. Okay, hold on.
It was the fourth and goal.
Chaos ensued ever since this safety happened.
Yeah.
4th and goal. Don't get it. Safety. Kickoff. Kicker forces fumble. Jacksonville State ball. Somehow throttles Jacksonville State into scoring 15 straight points. They've got a 3-point lead. Late in the game, like under 2 minutes left, 3rd and 23, Kennesaw State converts. 4th and 14 with 50 seconds left. They convert on a QB scramble, and then they hit him out of bounds for a 15-yard penalty. They end up giving a touchdown and lose 19-15. I've never been so disgusted with a final drive by a defense than I was watching this Jacksonville State game. Other than that, it was kind of a crap football game, and none of these teams were really prolific. Anybody have any takes on this? Luke, then Chase.
Shout out Jerry Mack, man, getting the job done. What was it? Is their second year in Power?
First. Oh. This is their first year bowl eligible.
Okay.
Second year in the FBS.
Okay.
They had a transition year at the FCS level where they kind of were halfway in. That counted as a transition year. So, yeah, second full year in the FBS and first year under Mac.
That's crazy that they're able to win the conference. And I told you the turnovers, that was going to be a huge thing. There's no way they turned over 4 times again. They didn't. They won the game. So.
Yep. Chase?
Thought Amari Odom played actually pretty solid considering how poor this game went. And I thought Kennesaw State kind of controlled this game through the first 3 quarters and let it slip, obviously, there in the 4th quarter. But good on them to come back and win. But this was the game that Kennesaw really should have had put away a lot earlier because they dominated 3/4 of that game. So, they made it interesting at the end, but I think the better team ultimately won here.
Next up was a very controversial game
man.
in certain aspects. North Texas headed to New Orleans, Louisiana. Played the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane came out on top. I was the only one, surprisingly, who had Tulane in this game. Yes, I don't think it would have mattered in the long run. The margin was big enough. However, there were some very controversial calls in this football game. Let's start out with the forced fumble by the quarterback Messamaker at the goal line.
Oh, no,
That was obviously a fumble. However, I think due to this being the American Conference Championship game, we didn't have an angle. And truly, they did not have an angle that, was indisputable, that this ball was out. I mean, yeah, you kind of thought the ball was out, but I wouldn't say it was indisputable. So you had that. And I kind of, just was able to peek on this game. I was really watching the JMU Troy and then on my phone, Kennesaw Jacksonville State, because that's what I was sweating because the score was so big in this Tulane North Texas game. Luke, I know you watched this game.
Yes. Another
Please
thing,
enlighten me what happened in New Orleans.
Another thing. So Tulane punts. Kind of punter doesn't really hit it very well. It's short and right. Guys running up the field it. He kicks like 40 yards. Guys running up the field it. Gets absolutely leveled by one of the return the Tulane guys. And then the other what's the defensive gunner guy? Hits off of him, and then it's Tulane ball. The dude goes fair catch. He signals for a fair catch, and they don't, and he just gets leveled. That's interference, and they did not call it. It was awful. I mean, it was really bad. And you got to think those two calls, because I did think it was a fumble. I mean, the ball was out, and those two calls, even if you get Tulane only lost, or excuse me, North Texas only lost by 13.
Yeah,
That's
they ended up pulling back. Yeah,
that's 2 touchdowns. And not to mention, Tulane's running back got hurt, which also kind of hurt. Or not Tulane, sorry. North Texas running back got hurt, which kind of swung things a little bit with the momentum. But shout out Tulane. I mean,
they could score.
Yeah.
And I think they pose a threat in the playoff. I'll get into that. Chase, any takes away from the American?
Hold on, are you guys there?
Yeah, there we go. Any takeaways from the American?
There we go. Okay, yeah. My Wi-Fi was bad. I got it fixed though. But anyways, yeah, I honestly was kind of surprised with this result. I thought, with John Summerall leaving to go to Florida, I thought that North Texas was gonna probably take this one just because of the amount of distractions. And boy, was I wrong. Tulane played their butts off. And then this is a good football team. I don't know if they can beat Ole Miss, in the playoff, but they outplayed North Texas for the majority of this game. North Texas had some points where they kind of clawed back in it, but Tulane really dominated this game. And what a way to play, especially with your coach leaving. So it was awesome.
I mean, North Texas coach was leaving too for Oklahoma State, but I agree. The Tulane coach, John Summerall, it was way more public and a lot more distractions involved, especially with him being in Florida one day and then later that day, and so I'm sure there was a lot more distractions involved with that. The Mountain West game, really wasn't that competitive, and then it kind of got back competitive, but really Boise State kind of handled UNLV the entire time, like I thought, and the weather was nasty, like I anticipated it to be.
I was watching it; it was just cold.
Yeah, well, it was. I talked to the long snapper. He said the ground was so wet, the ball kept getting wet, and
really?
So Boise State, me and the producer had them. UNLV, Luke and Chase. Boise State took the crown. Yeah,
you called
it
exactly.
UNLV kind of was that team all year. Yeah, I just didn't think UNLV was this team. I didn't think they were going to be the team to go beat Boise, especially in Boise. And I knew Boise. I know they had beaten them at home already once this year, but me and you have watched this UNLV team since the start, and we just kind of have been shaky on them since the start. And I just couldn't falter in my way of thinking on this, and I paid off in the short run. But yeah, any takeaways from this game, Chase and Luke?
Yeah, I got it. I should probably listen to Will Spain a little bit more, especially on the Mountain West, because I mean that was a phenomenal pick. You called it almost perfectly, dude. So really, I was a little disappointed with how UNLV played in this game, but you can't fault them. The conditions they usually play in a dome, so Boise State played their brand of football and got a big win.
Absolutely, Luke. Any takes?
I got that preseason prediction. I got that right.
Yeah,
completely.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey,
and I also got the JMU one right.
Yes, you did.
So
Luke did perfectly predict JMU beating Troy in the conference championship game, as well as Boise beating UNLV. So you got to hand it to him. Yeah, the next 3 games we all saw coming, and they were all dominant, as we all thought they were going to be, except one person didn't think it was going to be as dominant.
No, I was wrong.
Yeah. But you knew Texas Tech was going to win this football game.
Yeah.
Now, Greg, BYU kind of had this game by the balls in the first quarter.
I know.
And I really just what separates this Texas Tech team from the Big 12 teams of the past is, their offense is prolific. I think, Brendan Morton is a dude. Their defense is incredible. It's an incredible defense that I think is going to carry them to a pretty deep run in the college football playoff. Just quick and short, any takeaways from the Big 12 game? Luke, then Chase.
Nah, Texas Tech is the real deal. I want to. Did you see the interview where they're or the post presser or whatever, where it's like, what do you feel about people saying this is like the best defense you can buy or whatever, spending all this money? And he goes, "So what? We're winning."
That's pretty fire.
So, hey, shout out Texas Tech.
Chase, Texas man.
Well, I want to talk more about, obviously Texas Tech. This team is really freaking good. Showing what the NIL era can do. If you have the money to spend, go spend it, and you can see what type of roster you put together. I agree with you 100% that this defense is not a typical Big 12 defense. This is a phenomenal defense. Their gets the job done, but I want to talk more about BYU. I think BYU. I understand the
Knew this
record
was
and I
coming.
understand everything, but just watching that team play on the field, they had no business being on the same field as Tech twice. And for their fans, and I'm seeing it all over Twitter, BYU still trying to make a case to be in the playoff. They have no business being in the playoff with how they got ran off the field yesterday and when they played in Lubbock. Like the offense just can't get anything done. And you know their defense isn't good enough to stop Texas Tech, so I don't think that they have any claim to be in the playoff. But Texas Tech is the real deal, and I'm kind of wanting them to make a run in the playoff, but it's going to be tough. They got a pretty hard side of the bracket.
Line up BYU and Texas on a neutral field, and I'm taking BYU
All
nine
right, no,
times out of 10.
there's no chance.
Moving on
You
to the
think Bo
MAC.
Bagmeyer, you think Bo Bagmeyer is going to get it done versus that Texas defense? No chance. If he can't do it against Texas Tech, he couldn't
It's
even do it
fair.
against
It's
Cincinnati. He's not doing it against
Bear
that Texas
Bachmeyer, so you
defense.
don't even know your BYU
The
football.
same Texas defense that
The
shut
Storming
down
Mormons
Marcel
would
Reed.
storm all over. They would storm all over them.
Will, the same Texas defense that shut down Marcel Reed in the Heisman Trophy conversation. Crazy, man.
Look, I just know BYU wouldn't lose to 4-8 Florida. Moving on, Ford Field was the host for the MAC championship game, and boy, did Western Michigan literally run all over Miami, Ohio. When Miami's quarterback opted out, like that would didn't think they would get to this point. I mean, Gutowski got him to the championship game, but I mean, it was just the discrepancy was very evident. Western Michigan was by and far the better team here. Enough said. We were all 4 on the Western Michigan. I think we need to delve into this next one a little bit. In Atlanta, Georgia dominated Alabama. We all 4 were on Georgia. This game went exactly how I thought it was going to go, and I think that's alarming for Alabama. I thought Alabama had no business being on the same field as Georgia, even though they beat Georgia early in the year. I think this is a completely different Bama team in a worse way. I think it's a completely different Georgia team in a much better way. This Georgia team has really come around, has really solidified themselves as elite on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I just don't see, and a little preview, I don't see a team able to beat Georgia right now. And I think Gunnar Stockton is playing 5 times better than any of us anticipated in the preseason, other than me when I predicted him to go 13-0. And y'all call me out. Well, what about Gunnar Stockton? Well, I mean, I wasn't honestly. I was like, yeah, what about Gunnar Stockton? But now I feel about like, hey, yeah, what about Gunnar Stockton? You know what I mean? But takeaways from the SEC championship game, Luke and Chase.
Man, that was. I thought it'd be. I thought Alabama would like actually be able to move it a little bit. I did not think it was going to be that bad. Like I knew that Georgia was probably going to win by 10 plus. I did not think they honestly they played themselves out of the playoff, which we'll get into that. But they looked so bad. It literally looked like you put a college team versus a high school team. Like they couldn't move the ball. Ryan Williams out there dropping passes. I mean that they couldn't run the ball either. I know Jam Miller was hurt, but like it was bad. It was very bad.
Um, my computer just shut off for whatever reason. So
It's still going.
no, I know it's still
Oh,
going.
okay.
Chase, any input on this SEC conference championship game?
Well, I figured this would be the way it probably went. Like I said, I've not been overly impressed with Alabama down the stretch of this season. Um, they if you look at kind of what they've done over their resume of the season, they don't have really that impressive a win, maybe outside of Vanderbilt, but that's a home win for them. I just Georgia is playing their best football right now. They beat Texas, they beat Georgia Tech, and now they just beat a really good Alabama team, and they dominated all 3 teams. The offense is not prolific, but it's good enough to get things done. And that defense is elite. That defensive line, the second half of the season, since they played, I think really Georgia has dominated everybody except maybe Florida since that fourth quarter of the Ole Miss game. And I mean, they're playing like the best team in football right now. I don't think any team this weekend put together a better game than what Georgia did. I thought they played phenomenally well and dominating a team like Alabama, who has had their number. I mean, that is a massive win for Kirby Smart and a massive win for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, for sure. Now Will is having some technical
Absolutely
difficulties.
having some technical difficulties right now. I mean, this thing has just shut down on me, and I don't know if it's like updating or something. Which I mean, of course, Dell would update at the worst opportune time possible.
All right. Well, do you want me and Chase to carry on, or
Yeah. So let's talk about the Big Ten championship game. All right, in Indianapolis, we had the Big Ten championship game. Indiana played Ohio State. Very low scoring game. Defense has dominated this game. 13-10 was the final. Shank by Ohio State at the end of the game. Nothing made me smile more than that. I don't think Mendoza played great. Also, don't think Sam played great. So, I mean, the forerunner for the Heisman right now has got to be Diego Pavia. But any takeaways from this game, Chase and Luke?
Well, first off, I mean, I completely, wholeheartedly agree with you. I thought both quarterbacks at times were very poor in this game. I thought both teams' defenses were elite, but neither quarterback played exceptionally well. And I think this kind of set up a situation where it's probably either Diego Pavia or I would love to see my guy Jacob Rodriguez get the Heisman Trophy, but I doubt they give it to a defender. So I think Pavia is the front runner right now. But I got to give a massive shout out to Kirk Cignetti for, I mean, he's winning at an historic rate right now. He's won everywhere he's been, but to take a basketball school and take him to being the number one team in the country in 2 seasons,
Yeah.
winning the Big Ten, I mean, that is just unheard of. Like this is stuff we've never seen before. So for Cignetti, I mean, I'm sure it feels great. They're gonna lock back in and get ready for their national title push, but this is a great defensive game. If you like old school football, this is the game for you.
Absolutely. And yeah, to touch on Signetti, I mean, it's incredible. The dude wins football games. I mean, what is he like 25-2?
Google him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google him. He's 25-2 to Indiana. That's ridiculous. Luke, any takeaways from the Big Ten championship?
this was I thought Indiana was going to win, but this was a huge shout out to Indiana. That front seven
Mm-hmm.
played elite, and like I did see this guy on TikTok. Obviously, he was a Michigan fan, but it did kind of make sense. Sayan's been sacked. I think he said 6 times all year. He was sacked 5 times last night. That like obviously rattled him. I think, and why he did not play as well. And I think Fernando's still the front runner. I mean, dude came up in big moments and made big plays when it mattered. So
He did.
he did not play himself out of being the front runner, but man, that Indiana team looked really good. I was very impressed. I was very impressed with that defense and that offensive line to hold up.
Well, let's talk about two teams I was not very impressed by here in the ACC title game. This is what really screwed me in the end of it. Duke beat Virginia in Charlotte, North Carolina, in overtime, and the way Virginia lost was so fitting of the ACC. Like a double reverse flea flicker, got back to
Yes.
Chandler Morris, who threw it into freaking double,
Yeah.
almost triple coverage, on the first play of overtime. So you didn't really need to force anything there. But hey, go out with a bang here in the ACC. Thought this would screw the ACC out of a chance at the title, a playoff spot. Evidently, it did not somehow. But yeah. So Virginia losing benefited Miami in some ways, I guess. Yeah. Not much to take away from this game other than the ACC was just atrocious this year, and this is the cherry on the top.
Yeah, no, this was like I said, the ACC has been drunk. All the teams we thought were going to be good were terrible, and even some of the better teams would drop games that just made really no sense. And I told you Duke was going to end up pulling some bullshit and win this football game. So, but
And they
hey,
did.
Virginia had a great year though. I did not expect them to even be ranked.
Chase.
Well, honestly, I mean, I saw this coming a mile away. I think Virginia at times has looked like a really good football team, but for the majority of the season, they've lucked into a lot of their wins and just, playing an ACC schedule. Like the ACC was atrocious this year, top to bottom. So Virginia was just, the team that rose to the top of a bunch of really poor football teams. That being said, Duke's played some really good football over the last couple of weeks, and I had them coming in and beating Virginia, and they made it interesting there at the end, letting Virginia kind of back into the game, letting them force overtime, but they ended up getting it done at the end of the game. And shout out the Blue Devils. I think, is that their first time winning the ACC in 20 years or something? I
Yeah,
think it was
something
like.
like that. And also, just
Yeah,
to note,
it
this
was
is
a
an
while. It's
8-5
been a
team.
while since they've won the ACC in football. So congratulations to Duke. Darian Mensah is a very good quarterback, and I think if he probably stays at Duke next year, he'll have a real good year.
So just to put the cherry on top here, let's go through Duke's losses. Illinois at home, at Tulane, Georgia Tech at home, at UConn, and then Virginia at home, and then beat Virginia in the ACC title game. Drunk is exactly the way I would describe the ACC this year. Here's the picks leaderboard. So let's explain it for the audience. I am in punishment zone. I am going to be doing the punishment. That freaking sucks. Oh well, I'll get them back in basketball. We have time for the lead. Who decides the punishment? Who is crowned our college football picks champion in the Big 25? It comes down to America's game, the Army Navy game. And not only will they pick the winner, because I presume they will both pick Navy, we're going to do a total point tiebreaker in a game that you have no earthly idea what the total point score will be. It could be a shootout. It could be 10-6. So interesting to find out what will happen there. Dogs of the week. Chase, I think you'll like this one. I want to touch on it. Someone other than Jacob Rodriguez on the defense of Texas Tech. Ben Roberts had himself a hell of a game, dude. 5 total tackles,
Phenomenal
2
game.
solos, 2 interceptions, and a pass deflection from a linebacker who isn't even arguably the best linebacker on the team. Absolute baller game for Ben Roberts. Pretty much single-handedly. I mean, extended this
Shut down
lead.
BYU.
Yeah, shut down BYU. I mean, Ben Roberts played his ass off. Elite game from him. He is my dog of the week. Luke, love yours.
Jalen Buckley ran all over Miami, Ohio in the MAC championship game. 19 carries for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he had 2 runs. I know he had the 67-yard run, but I think he also had like a 52-yard run. I mean, he was that running offense of Western Michigan was absolutely dominant, but he was electric. So that's why he's my dog of the week.
Chase, your dog of the week.
I got a Charlie Becker. And, everybody coming into this game, they want to talk about the wideouts for Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, Cardinal Tate, how much better they were than Indiana's wide receiver room. And Charlie Becker, the white boy, steps up and has himself an all-time game, coming up with one of the biggest plays towards the end of the game, that 30-yard completion that pretty much sealed it for the Hoosiers. 6 receptions, 126 yards. Was pretty much the only bright spot I think we could say on Indiana's offense. He played his butt off, and that's a massive win for the Hoosiers. So, congrats to the white boy Charlie Becker.
Absolutely. Week 16, Swiss Army top 25. And if you look at our top 25, it'll greatly differ from the college football playoff committees. We have flipped it. Ohio State has fallen from 1 to 2. Indiana rightfully takes their top at the spot. We, as in the producer, me and Luke, all had Georgia at 2. Somebody in this group had Ohio State still at 1, Indiana at 2.
Wait, what? Who?
I had it flipped.
You did not.
I had Indiana at 1. I'm almost positive.
Go look at your sheet.
And then maybe I
had to go based off what I was given, based off the ballots I was given.
All right. Well,
So,
Indiana.
in reality,
Indiana 1.
Georgia probably would have been our 2, but Georgia's our 3. Texas Tech's our 4. Oregon our 5th. Ole Miss 6. A&M 7. Notre Dame 8. Oklahoma 9. Now we start to get some changes. We punished Alabama. I think they should have been. Vanderbilt at 10. Bama at 11. Texas at 12. Miami at 13. We moved BYU all the way back to 14. Consequently, also Utah at 15. USC at 16. Now we get to the G5. 17 Tulane. 18 James Madison. Ahead of 19 Michigan and 20 Arizona. 21 Navy. 22 the U of H. 23 Virginia, 24 Georgia Tech after being in the receiving votes last week, and then 25 we kept them in North Texas. Receiving votes, a little bit interesting this week. 2 points for Mizzou, 1 for Iowa, and 1 for Boise State, who received a 25th place vote. Let's get into the good stuff. The bracket's been finalized. They gave Indiana the 1, as they should have been, 2 Ohio State, 3 Georgia, 4 Texas Tech. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with Oregon at 5. Here's where I start to have issues. 6 Ole Miss, 7 Texas A&M, and Reese Davis wholeheartedly agree with me with this. A&M's win's better than Ole Miss's. I mean, their best win is better than Ole Miss's best win. A&M had Notre Dame, which I think is arguably still better than Oklahoma. However, A&M was like 3 the entire year, and then you dropped them behind Ole Miss after Ole Miss barely beat Florida and won the Egg Bowl. But I mean, State's 5-7. I just don't think Ole Miss is anything like, wow, Ole Miss is great in order for that jump to happen. But again, excusable. That's fine. Yeah. Here's where it starts to get interesting. I think 8 at Oklahoma is fine. I don't like Bama at 9. I think they should have gotten punished. They punished every other conference championship loser pretty much. They punished BYU. They punished they punished Ohio State, which I mean, again, consequently, 1-2 flip. They punished Virginia. They dropped in the rankings. They technically punished North Texas, who dropped below James Madison. They punished
BYU.
Yeah, that's what I said, BYU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so the only team that stayed the same rank, after losing their conference championship game, after being dominated in their conference championship game, was Alabama. Here's where I have an aneurysm. 10's Miami. Now, I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. There's no point in having rankings the entire 6 weeks coming up to this if in this last week it just, oh, well, we all put them on a neutral field, throw it out the window. All of a sudden, because BYU drops behind Miami, then Miami is next to Notre Dame. And because they were touching each other, we went to the head-and-head. That bothers me. If Miami was ranked ahead of Notre Dame, they should have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame. You can't have Notre Dame at 9, get a ghost bump down to 10. Bama did nothing spectacular in that Auburn game. Barely escaped the Iron Bowl against a 5-7 Auburn team without a head coach. Notre Dame went and took care of business against Stanford on the road. They did nothing to get dropped to 10. And then in a game or a week where neither of these teams played, because they punished BYU, they put Miami next to Notre Dame, and then Miami gets in. Again, I get it. Head-to-head, same record. I don't get it with the way it all played out. I think it is just kind of have made a mockery of the committee. I think it's made a mockery of all the, ranking reveals on Tuesdays leading up to this moment. I think it has completely shed a light on this current format that maybe needed to be shed. I mean, you've either got to go to 16, in my opinion, or you got to go back to 4. And I would rather have 16 than 4. Luke, I'll let you start after your spiel, then Chase.
They honestly should have dropped Bama out. If Bama would have lost by a field goal or a game-ending touchdown, something super close, I'm all right with them staying.
They're taking 14 points.
I mean, yeah, they didn't run the ball for more than 10 yards. They were completely dominated and
-3, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. And you're supposed to account the eye test a little bit. It's obviously not oh, I'm just going to use Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat Syracuse by 70 or whatever. Obviously, it's an eye test, but you don't take that fully into account because it is Syracuse. But, if you look at the eye test on Bama, they have been so bad the last 3 weeks. I mean, Ty Simpson threw 2 picks against Eastern Illinois. It's insane. Honestly, Notre Dame and Miami should both be in this playoff. I hate that Miami made it, and I'm all right with Notre Dame. I don't have a bias, but it is kind of bullshit because you blue balled Notre Dame all the way up to the end just for Will said, for they're touching each other. If you knew Miami was 2-3 spots behind, Notre Dame, And like you could kind of see the writing on the wall because there was BYU ahead of them, and then it was Notre Dame. Because when Miami did the phantom jump of Vandy, that's when it's like, oh, think shit's about to get real. When you see that, they shot themselves in the foot. They set themselves up for failure. And like I now Notre Dame's going about this the shittiest way possible.
Don't opt out of your bowl game because
Yes.
you're being a sore loser.
Like I think that's like it's terrible. They don't need to really be doing that. But they did really get hoed. And I don't know. I think this is a fine format. You just need to have some people who like understand the game of football.
You got to have people in there that know ball, not ADs.
Like they honestly should just take former players. You should take like 15 former players all over the country. No same school, like no 2 Alabama guys, no like 2 Auburn guys.
There's so
Different
many
schools.
biases, though. I mean, I think really we should go back to a computer system like they did with the BCS,
that,
where it's
yeah.
completely, we have artificial intelligence now, have AI take all the metrics down, watch the games. We have the capacities to do that now. Make it completely autonomous. Don't let it be any room for human error. But I'll let you finish, Luke, before I
No, you're good.
step in.
And then also, this is literally they just use this as like a drama. It's literally like some soap opera. That's all they're using this show as. Because like there's really no point for them to have a show. Just do what the AP poll does and put it out. I mean, it's stupid. And then like you have the dude doing the 6-7 meme. That's when you know it's some bullshit. I mean, they need to wipe the whole committee. The format's fine. I think everybody's saying the 2 group of 5 teams are being in.
That's not my problem.
That's not no.
That's just how it shaked out this year.
It's just like college basketball. You win your conference, you get in the tournament. I think that's fine. It's the fact that Miami and Notre Dame and then Alabama didn't move. I mean, like Alabama did not move. That's my biggest gripe. But Chase,
go ahead, man.
We've got to have some type of metric that isn't ESPN based or something. Like we got to have a metric that evens out all the strengths of their wins and losses and really put these teams together. Like Alabama, yes, they played a tougher schedule than both Miami and Notre Dame, which is what I've seen the argument for them to get in is. But you also have to take into account how they won, 2, how they lost. Like I don't think that's been taken into account at all. If they pick, the only case Alabama has is that their strength of record was harder. But they have one more loss than both teams. Granted, it wasn't a conference championship game, but Alabama's looked absolutely atrocious. So there's no way, in my mind, Alabama does not deserve to be in this playoff whatsoever. I don't think even Oklahoma really does with what Oklahoma's limped across the finish line too. So those 2 teams, like I understand you got to put them in because of their record, but neither one of them, if we're talking about how they played on the field, really deserves to be in this playoff. Now, Miami and Notre Dame, I think both of the teams deserve to be in. If we're doing it right, Oklahoma stays at 8. You could put Miami at 9, Notre Dame at 10. Alabama has to be out of this mix, though. There's no way that Alabama deserves to be in over Miami or Notre Dame. No way. There's no way it shakes out. And I understand you have the argument Notre Dame didn't beat anybody good outside of USC. Well, Notre Dame has handled business ever since their 2 early season losses. Can we punish them for what they did back in September? Some people say yes, that's what held them out. But if you look at, they've gotten better as the weeks have gone on. Same thing like with Miami, with the middle of the season losses. Yes, I understand that, but they have looked really good post that SMU loss. So, I mean, I just don't know why. Like, you've got to put the teams that are playing the best in November heading into December. Who's playing the best right now? I don't think it's Alabama. I don't think it's Oklahoma. I think you could make an argument that Notre Dame, BYU, Texas, and Vanderbilt all are playing better than for sure Oklahoma and Alabama. And you can maybe look at some other teams that are in here as well. So I think it's terrible. It's terrible how the committee went about this decision last week, having Notre Dame ahead of BYU and Miami. Then when no games are played, you're going to have Miami jump Notre Dame. Like, how does that make sense? Miami jumps 2 spots, not playing a game? Like, it makes 0 sense. It's crap. Notre Dame should be absolutely pissed off. I understand why I think they should still play the bowl game, but I understand the thinking behind it because this is unprecedented. This is one of the worst things I think we've ever seen. This is probably even worse than the Jordan Travis holding Florida State out, because at least they had a metric behind it like that. When the backup quarterback came in, Georgia blew him out by 60 points or something ridiculous. It would have been the same in the playoffs. So I understand that, but there is no reason why Notre Dame should have been held out. So I think the committee, there's going to have to be a lot of changes, and I know they postponed the format change and everything like that until January 5th or something like that of next year. There's going to have to be a lot of changes because we can't let this happen again. And I know this is the way it shook out this year, but it's horseshit. It's terrible. I mean, this can't be repeated next year.
I think what has gotten away from the committee that they had, especially in the 14 playoff that they had, but also, I mean, last year, the eye test. The eye test has completely gotten away from the committee. They are relying too much on media pressure. I mean, straight up numbers. And even if you're relying on straight up numbers, I saw this today. When they threw up that graphic between Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami, with like, the strength of record, strength of schedule, and their record. You know who was prettier on their graphic than all three of those teams? It was Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt had the better strength of record and was like one
And you
behind.
want to throw Texas in there too. Vandy and Texas, I think, had better resumes than both those teams. And you're punishing Vanderbilt for a loss to a top 12 Texas team and a top 10 Alabama team. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
What are we doing?
It was an atrocity.
It's ridiculous, man.
An atrocity by the committee today. Actually had my jaw open on the floor when I saw Miami slide into that 10 spot. You got to feel it for the Irish.
So I don't know if I'm reading this right, but apparently there's something they signed. I can't really get good wording from these articles, but I did see something on TikTok, and I think this might be true. If Notre Dame next year, they sign something that if they're inside the top 12, they get an auto bid to the playoffs. I don't know how true that is. I'm trying to look at it, but like Bleacher Report has something on it on 3. So like, I don't know if that's true, but
it'll
like,
probably come to light in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine.
The athletic director said that they are assured in next year, they will be assured a spot so this won't happen again. Which honestly, Notre Dame, just join a conference if you want to.
Just join.
They need to join a conference.
They need to join a conference.
It's time. That's a different conversation for a different day. But I have a question to ask y'all.
Okay.
So, do you think the playoffs? Just if we're going off, who's playing the best right now? Vandy has looked phenomenal over the last 3 weeks. Obviously, Texas played Georgia well for 3 quarters and then beat Texas A&M. I think those two teams are probably two of the hottest teams in football right now. Do you think they would make at least the first round games a little bit better if they're in instead of like an Alabama or an Oklahoma or even Miami? Like Notre Dame, Vandy, and Texas, I think could probably give teams better games than Oklahoma, Alabama, and Miami, just considering how everybody's played through the back end of the season.
Oh, absolutely. If I'm the committee chair, this is how I have these matchups. I would have Texas A&M and Texas in a rematch, and then I would have Miami or Notre Dame playing Vanderbilt in the 8-9. I have no issue with any of that. I don't think Miami has looked good at all. I think they were in a dogfight against Pitt, and then Pitt's quarterback got hurt, changed the entire tide of the game. I mean, Miami hadn't looked good in previous weeks. I mean, hell, they lost to – you're punishing Vanderbilt to losing to 2 top 12 teams, yet – Miami, you lost to SMU and Louisville, who are 2 unranked teams.
Yep.
I don't get it. It baffles me. Anyway. Moving on to our predictions of this interesting bracket. Look, I get it. Bama has looked bad. I think Oklahoma's looked worse. So I'm going. I do think this is a good Bama team. I don't think they've looked good. But I think this is a good team. And I think partially is because I think Georgia really is that legit, as you can see if you're watching on YouTube. But yeah, I've got Bama taking down Oklahoma in the 8-9 matchup. I've got Oregon in a close one against James Madison at the 5-12. I've got Tulane going into Oxford and winning this football game. I want to have one upset. I'm pretty chalk other than that. I think this is like the most likely of the upsets. I think Tulane is playing pretty prolifically on offense right now. It's not like Ole Miss is a stellar defense. And I think they have the defensive pieces like with Chris Roberts on the back end of their defense to take care of the deep threats from Ole Miss. I understand Ole Miss won by 35, and you see that score. But that game was like a 10-point game entering the fourth quarter, and that Ole Miss ran up Lane Kiffin at the end of the game and like ran up the score when it was like a 21-point game, then made it a 28-point game, and then made it a 35-point game. I think Tulane's getting slept on. They're definitely play them on the spread. I don't think they get blown out at all, but I think they may sneak one out here in Oxford. I don't think Miami's good, so I've got A&M. I don't think A&M's great by any means necessary, so I'll talk about it in the second round. I think Indiana Alabama is actually a great game. It's going to be a very entertaining game. I think Indiana gets the best of them. They have better defense. I think Texas Tech blows out Oregon. I mean, that's just my thought process. I'm not impressed with this Oregon team at all. I think Dante Moore has a lot of problems with this Texas Tech defense, and I don't think Texas Tech's offense has any problem with Oregon's defense at all. So I think Texas Tech moves on to the semifinals. I think Georgia throttles Tulane in the Sugar Bowl, although it is in New Orleans. If that is the matchup that makes it way more interesting, I think that would – I mean, you're on – Tulane could shut up the G5 haters for the next 15 years if they win 2 games in the playoff. I think if they beat Ole Miss, they shut them up.
Beat one.
If a G5 team wins this year, they shut up everybody, which I'm rooting for it. But, I think Georgia State carries to Tulane. And I think Ohio State beats A&M by like 20 points plus. I think it's not even
At least.
Yeah. So then we get to 1-4, 3-2, which I think that's how it'll go. Unfortunately, I think they got the top 4 teams right, and I think the top 4 teams are much better than the rest of the field. I think Texas Tech's better than Indiana. Just looking at it, I mean, I think it's a close game. I just think this Texas Tech defense may pressure Mendoza into making a mistake, and Texas Tech able to capitalize with Brennan Morton, score late, Slicky, Cameron Dickey getting in the end zone potentially for a game-winning touchdown. Got Texas Tech in the national championship. Almost best team money can buy. I think Georgia wins easily against Ohio State. I think it's a close first half. I think Georgia pulls away at the end, and then I think Georgia and Texas Tech have a banger of a national championship game, one that we talk about for years to come, and Georgia ekes it out and wins their national championship for Kirby Smart. Luke, how do you see it going?
See, I know it's not going to be chalk because
it never is.
I'll explain my reasoning. So I have OU beating Bama. I was so unimpressed with Bama. I know OU's been bad, but I mean, they're the home team. I think they can at least eke one out, but so I got them beating Bama. I think both group of 5 teams do cover. I really do. And I think the JMU line's like 21.5. I looked at it this morning. I think Oregon wins. I would love to see JMU win. I mean, I think the travel is going to be really tough.
Yeah, I think so too.
You're going from Virginia out to Oregon. So that's going to be tough. But I think Oregon wins. And then I think Ole Miss kind of escapes Tulane. I think they still win, but I really do think Tulane has a great chance to win this football game. I mean, they were playing very inspired football right now. I got A&M beating Miami. I think Miami is really – I mean, I wouldn't have Miami in this playoff, but they're here. So I have A&M going on to play Ohio State, and I have them beating Ohio State. I mean, this is my reasoning. This is the first time saying – because I was going to pick either like OU to beat Indiana, which I didn't think was happening. 4-5 isn't really an upset. 5-4. Ole Miss to beat Georgia or A&M to beat Ohio State. Because I feel like one of those, we're not going to get a 1-4 chalk. And I think A&M's got the best chance to pull off the upset because we saw with Sayan in the Big Ten Championship. If you pressure him, which he has not had pressure on him all year, he's had 5 sacks last night. I think he's been sacked 6 times all year. If you pressure him, bad things happen. And A&M is first in the country in sacks. So I think A&M's defense is going to be able to get after them, and I think they're going to sneak away with the shocker here. I mean,
I'd love to see it.
They both really have not played anybody either because you use that argument for A&M outside of Texas. I mean, they lost to Texas. They beat Notre Dame, but in their conference schedules, did not play a soul. So I'm going to go with A&M upsetting Ohio State. I got Georgia beating Ole Miss. I got Texas Tech beating Oregon, and I got Indiana beating Oklahoma handily. I think they manhandle Oklahoma. Then I got Indiana, an absolute thriller, beating Texas Tech. Then I got Georgia beating A&M. And then I was super impressed with the front 7 and the physicality because Indiana, you really don't think physical. They were super physical last night against the best defense in the country. And even though they only scored 13 points, they held that offense that has been very good this year to 10 points. So I honestly think Indiana's the best team in the country. And I think if Indiana is going to win it, this is the year.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're not going to get a Heisman quarterback probably for, I mean, who they could next year, but like I highly doubt they get another Heisman quarterback in another 10 years. And this is Kurt's time to win and just stamp Indiana on the map for eternity in college football.
Chase, you see things very differently.
Yeah, I see things a lot differently than y'all. And so we'll start off with the first matchup, OU Alabama. Yes, it's being played up in Norman, but it's so hard, as you know, to beat. We've gone through this, and the reasons, I mean, a lot of the picks have gone my way the last couple of weeks is you don't expect a team to beat a team twice. If they've already played them once in the season, it's hard to beat them twice. We saw that with Georgia and Alabama yesterday. So I think Alabama beats Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not going to be able to beat Alabama twice. That offense is atrocious. They looked atrocious against LSU. That offense has sputtered. I mean, really, since the Alabama game, just completely fallen off a cliff. Even in the Alabama game, weren't great. If Alabama plays turnover-free football, which I think they do, they'll beat Oklahoma. Oregon JMU, don't think it'll be close. Oregon's got a lot. I think y'all are. Yes, Oregon hasn't played anybody, but outside of Indiana, but this Oregon team is good and they can really run the football, which, as we know in these playoff games, is really important. If you can control the line of scrimmage, which I think this Oregon team can do, they're just far superior to James Madison. So I think Oregon will blow out James Madison. Ole Miss Tulane, I agree with y'all. I think this game is going to be super tight, a lot tighter than the first time they already played each other. And Tulane looks very galvanized at the moment. Even though Summerall's leaving, he's got them boys playing. Ole Miss, it's kind of weird what they've got going on. I know they got behind Coach Pete down there, but I don't know. I love the roster, and I think Ole Miss is a really good football team, but I'm not super convinced on, what they've got going on with the coaching situation there. But I do think they can eke out a win versus Tulane, and I think Texas A&M Miami is going to be a lot closer than people think. Carson Beck will probably play decent. The same with Malachi Toney. I think Miami's offense will be able to score with Texas A&M, but this game's at Kyle Field. It's going to be rocking. A&M just came off of a loss to Texas, and they've had that to chew on until this game on, I think it's December 19th or maybe it's December 20th. I think A&M, there's no way they lose this game. They're not going to lose to Miami, and Miami's been pretty fraudulent outside of the Notre Dame game all season, so I think A&M gets this done. Indiana versus Alabama. I think Indiana absolutely rolls Alabama. I don't think this one's going to be close. I think Fernando Mendoza is going to have a field day with this Bama defense, and Ty Simpson is going to heavily struggle against this Indiana offense. Alabama couldn't run the ball against Georgia. It's going to be the same story against Indiana. They're not going to be able to run the ball. So it's going to be all on Ty Simpson's shoulders, and we saw how that played out in yesterday's game. Now this one, I really want to pick Tech. Personally, I want Tech to win a national championship this year. That's who I'm going for. But when I come in and I'm looking at this game, last year, when we were all picking it last year, granted, Ohio State we thought could make a little run, but a lot of people had it chalk. Just outside of Arizona State, a lot of people had it chalk. Everybody thought, that Oregon was going to roll to the championship, everything like that. But I think not playing for a month almost hurts you a little bit. A lot of these teams, they're not going to suit up again until January 1st. That is a month off of football, which I think is extremely detrimental. So Oregon having that quote tune-up game rolling into Tech, I think Oregon can upset Tech, and it'll be a really good game. It'll be shocking, but I think Oregon matches up really well against Tech. I think Tech, their offense is good, but Oregon does have a really good defense. So I think Oregon's defense can slow down that Tech offense enough, and I think when push comes to shove, Oregon's going to have a little bit more on offense than Tech does, especially getting healthy at the right time. I think Georgia will absolutely obliterate Ole Miss. They figured them out in that fourth quarter. I don't think anything's going to be any different. They obviously found something that worked in that fourth quarter against Ole Miss. So I think Georgia's just too good. I wanted to pick Ole Miss here just because they played twice, but I think Georgia, getting the win in Oxford, it's a little bit different than, say, winning at home. So I think Georgia's going to get this one done. And then I agree with you, Luke. I think Texas A&M could easily upset Ohio State here just because, they're going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback on Julian Sayin, and if Ohio, it just really comes down to the quarterback play for me. And I think Marcel Reed's been super inconsistent all season. And when push comes to shove, I think he turns the ball over, kind of how he did in the Texas game, which will ultimately lose in the football game. He's not a prolific passer. He's a phenomenal athlete, but he's going to struggle against this Buckeyes defense. And I don't think A&M's defense can, these corners, they were having trouble staying with Texas's wide receivers. They are going to struggle staying with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And I think they're going to get carved up. And so I think Ohio State will wake up and end up winning this game. Now, this brings me to my final four. Indiana, Oregon. I think it's going to be really tough for Indiana to beat Oregon again. That was a very close game, and Dante Moore himself will tell you that is the worst game he played all season. They were banged up going into that game, down a lot of wide receivers, everything like that. I think Oregon and Dan Lanning, he's gonna have them right, and I think they may shock Indiana here. Which, I think it's a little. I'm a little nervous about this pick, but I think Oregon has the potential to shock Indiana here. And then Georgia, Ohio State. I think Georgia is, like I said, playing the best football out of anybody right now. That defensive line is going to give Julian Sayin a lot of trouble. That defense can stop Ohio State's offense, and it's just going to depend on Gunnar Stockton and that offense, that Mike Bobo-led offense, to just put up enough points to get the job done. And then the national championship, Georgia versus Oregon. I think this is finally where we see Dante Moore struggle a little bit, and Georgia's defense will stop that Oregon running game that has been so prolific all year. And I think Georgia gets it done in the national championship, and Kirby gets another one.
On the same page there, Chase. Michael, our producer, did make his picks. Obviously not on the pod. He has Oklahoma beating Alabama. It's my first time looking at this. Oregon beating JMU, Ole Miss beating Tulane, and A&M beating Miami. This is where it gets interesting. He has Oklahoma beating Indiana, Oregon beating Tech, Georgia beating Ole Miss, and Ohio State beating A&M with, as Chase also predicted, an Oregon-Georgia final with Georgia winning it all. Man, I knew Michael loved Mateer. I just didn't know he loved him this much.
Which I will say, this playoff, I do think it's way more. I don't want to say balanced, but the team, there's not like a.
Oh, there's not a clear front runner.
Yes, so this is why I
No.
think it's going to be a really
It could go any
entertaining
way.
bracket this year.
We could see a Texas A&M team or an Ole Miss.
Yeah, I know.
Potentially
I'm about to say,
win,
there's a couple of teams I don't think can make the Final Four. I don't think Ole Miss one of those teams with their current
Probably
situation.
so,
If they had
yeah.
Lane Kiffin, I think they could.
Yeah.
They don't, so I don't think they are. I'll be straight up. Don't think Oregon is one of those teams. I do not think Miami is one of those teams, and I do not think Oklahoma is one of those teams.
Yeah,
I think Bama
or
could
Alabama.
obviously. I know. I think Bama could surprise people.
Yeah,
I really do.
After what they did yesterday,
It's Bama. Don't. The last time I counted
it's
out
Kalen
Bama,
DeBoer
I
Bama.
got burned.
We're
So I'm
confusing
not
them
counting
with
out
Nick
Bama.
Saban Bama, Will.
No,
This is Kalen DeBoer Bama.
DeBoer.
I mean, I'm top 7. I think any of those people can make the championship.
100%.
So
I agree. Top 7, that's where I draw the line. Is
Yeah.
after 7, I don't think those teams can win, but top 7, any one of those teams could win.
Well, we were a little argumentative over the past. Well, not just with each other, but with the committee itself. App State and Georgia Southern, breaking news in the Birmingham Bowl.
Really?
That is a Sun Belt Conference game in the same division they have already played this year.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's brutal.
I mean, hey, you're going bowling. I mean, for
Yeah,
App State,
yeah,
I guess.
I guess. That's pretty terrible.
It's so
Rushmore.
sad what's
Yeah, it is.
happening with
It's
bowl
so
season.
sad what's happened with bowl season. Money's made people greedy. I think it's honestly the stem of the issue is NIL. But
Yeah.
Travesty.
Yep. Fast food restaurants, Mount Rushmore. As usual, Luke, I'm making you pick your number first.
3.
Chase.
You know what I'm going with? I'm going with 7.
It's the
These are
same
my usual predicament here. I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
Pick a number between 1 and 10. It's 2.
Oh my gosh.
Luke is
Okay.
first. I am second.
Oh
And
my
Chase is
God.
last.
This is hard because I already know.
This
which-
is the one I didn't want to go first.
I
on.
know.
Yeah.
This is because we're from the South.
Yep.
So like all the restaurants, obviously we don't have. God.
What's your 1-1?
Oh my God. I gotta hold on. I'm not prepared for this. Oh man, because In-N-Out is great. I've had In-N-Out twice. In-N-Out is phenomenal.
It's good.
I am a cookout homer. I love cookout. Now I'm not
We
gonna pick.
1-1 in cookout.
No, I'm not.
One
I'm
one cook.
not.
Do it.
I'm not 1-1 in cookout.
Do it, Luke. 1-1
And
cookout.
Cane's. I love Cane's as well, but I think I'm gonna have to go In-N-Out. I've had it twice, and I really wish they'd have one here. In-N-Out is amazing. The burger, the animal style fries, and their milkshakes are good. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna go In-N-Out.
I wasn't that impressed with In-N-Out.
Really?
Man.
I thought it was good.
Thought it was a glorified Five Guys.
1-1.
Yeah, I'm going Raising Cane's, especially since they opened 2 locations now in Memphis. I went the other day, dude. There's not a better chicken tender. There isn't. There's
really
not a
that
better chicken
impressed with
tender.
Raising Cane's. I
I've
think it's
yet,
good, but
and this is gonna be so sus. What I say next.
oh god,
I've yet to get a like moist.
a moist.
I mean, I've yet to not get like a moist, juicy tender.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it hasn't been dry. I mean, it's perfectly breaded. And cane sauce, I can drink a gallon of it. And plus, their sweet tea's on point. So, and that's big for me. And I love their fries. Weirdly enough, they're like small and they're super. Okay, again, pause. Salty, but yeah, love Raising Cane's. Chase, 2 picks in a row for you.
I mean, I don't know how y'all let this slip that far.
know
You
what
got to
you're
get
gonna
Chipotle with the 1-3 Chipotle. I mean, if you're talking about bang for your buck, always full, always good. I've had Chipotle in like 10 different states across the country. It's always consistent. It's always good. I mean, it tastes like you're eating authentic Mexican food everywhere you go, and it's always fresh. I mean, I can't complain about Chipotle. And then for my next pick, I'm gonna go with Chick-fil-A.
I knew
feel
it.
like
So that's what I thought you were gonna take. Yep.
it's a phenomenal fast food chain. They have put out a great product. It's healthy as fast food goes, and always everything I eat there. I mean, if it's grilled, if it's fried, the chicken's always good. So I'm going with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, screw being healthy. McDonald's is an easy second pick for me. The versatility of a McDonald's on a road trip. You can get 2 burgers, a large fry, and a large Coke for $10. Are you kidding me? I'm a big fan of two cheeseburger meal. Love some nuggets, McFlurries, Sundays, apple pies. Don's is cheap still. One of the few fast food restaurants out there that's still very cheap for a college student. It just doesn't miss. Give me Don's.
All right. See, now I have to go with Cookout. I love Cookout. That is my favorite place on this planet.
It's a solid pick.
You literally can get anything on that menu. They really, it's super cheap.
It is the best bang for your buck, where you can get an entree as a side.
I know, it's amazing. Their burgers are good. Their quesadillas are elite. Their milkshakes are good too. So I'm gonna go with Cookout. And then my number. See, we're in the South. No, I gotta go with Taco Bell.
It's a solid pick.
I love Taco
It's a solid
Bell.
pick.
That's a great pick.
I love Taco Bell, Crunch Wrap, Doritos Locos Tacos, and just anything. It's great. That's real, authentic Mexican
Luke,
food.
you put together your first elite Mount Rushmore that may not get clowned on TikTok.
Clown regardless, it doesn't matter.
Easy. Popeyes. I think they have some elite chicken at Popeyes. And I love the black and ranch. Love the sweet tea. I mean, it's got so much flavor. I get it spicy. Don't get it mild. Don't be a freaking Caucasian. Popeyes is elite. Their biscuits are undefeated. They are super moist, buttery, fluffy biscuit. Love Popeyes. That is my third pick. Chase 2 in a row to end it for you.
Well, I don't know how much Whataburger y'all have had.
It's
but
solid.
Being
It
Texan,
is. We have Whataburger here, by the way.
It's okay. It's in my opinion, it's the best fast food burger that you can get, and they also have elite breakfast. If you've ever had Whataburger breakfast, the taquitos are phenomenal. I think Whataburger actually has the best fast food breakfast in the country. It's really hard to beat Whataburger for me. And then you know what, Luke, since you didn't take him, did you? He took In-N-Out, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, hold on. Let me think. This is tough. I've got to get a good one to.
You've got to have a solid 4 here to win this. You've got to have a good 4th.
That's what I'm thinking, because Chipotle and Chick-fil-A and Whataburger. Mm.
I think I got a good fourth.
I have a good fourth. I think it's an underrated fourth.
Is it? See, I want to go with one, but it may get clowned on. I
You're
feel
not.
like I
No,
would
trust
lose.
me.
Trust me,
I will
you
be
cannot
cla-
get clowned more on socials, on our
All right,
socials.
I'm gonna
than
go with
Luke.
Subway.
Subway is a
And
solid pick. It's a solid
let me
pick.
explain why. People hate on Subway
Their
a ton,
chicken
and
bacon ranch is
I didn't.
undefeated.
But you can. I always leave feeling full, and it's usually solid, and you can get it anywhere in the country for a good price. So
Are you taking that foot long,
it's a good
Chase?
sandwich. So
Are you taking that foot long?
I'm taking that foot long. Pause.
Look, you don't always come here for the food, but I think they have good burgers.
No, that's what I know.
I think they have solid popcorn chicken. And their ice cream for a fast food restaurant is elite. Their milkshakes are good. Their blasts are good. And not to mention the amount of different drinks you can get in 44-ounce cups.
Oh my god.
The definition of America. Sonic is my final pick. I think Sonic was an elite hangout spot in high school here in Tennessee. You can
People live off of it.
live off Sonic. You can get so many different things with Sonic. I mean, you can get the chicken wrap, you can get the chicken sandwich, you can get the burger, you can get the Popeye, popcorn chicken. The tossed popcorn chicken is good with buffalo. They have good ranch. I think that's important for any fast food restaurant is to have good ranch. And their ice cream is great. I love their ice cream. I love their milkshakes. So Sonic, Luke, final pick.
Dude, I don't know. There's so I because I'm not picking Wendy's. I'm not picking Wendy's or Burger King. I kind of I was gonna pick Sonic because I wanted to go with the ice cream route. God, and I don't want to pick Dairy Queen because their food is terrible.
Atrocious.
It is so bad. Dude, but I can only think of like Arby's right now, and I'm not picking Arby's. I think I almost have to.
You're asking yourself
No,
to get clowned on the
dude,
TikTok
I know.
if you select Arby's.
No, I'm not.
Take Arby's. We have the meats.
Meats, Luke. Do you have the meats?
I have to go Wendy's unless I'm like blanking on something.
I mean,
it's like
I'm not going to do your research for you.
no, because I have it here, and like I'm not picking Starbucks.
I think there's some better options out there. That's just
Hold
me.
on. Oh well, I'll pivot off the sandwich place. We count Jersey Mike's as fast food?
Absolutely,
Okay,
you can
well, then
still
I will
like that.
take, I will
Absolutely.
take Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is an elite pick.
I will take Jersey Mike's. That is my fourth pick.
Great Phillies at Jersey Mike's.
Way to save yourself
yeah,
right there.
I mean, you did
We
save
almost had an
yourself.
Arby's on here.
We almost had an Arby's on the Mount Rushmore.
Thinking I was probably gonna do Wendy's.
And to be honest with you, for the graphic, I would have put the logo for everything else, but I would have put that roast beef sandwich as Arby's just to make sure people got it hammered home. That's what you selected.
Okay, hold on. I do want to say this though. No matter what, like I could have the best draft of all time. We could do a top NBA players, and I could have Jordan, LeBron, Bird, and Bill Russell, and I would still get clowned on TikTok.
Yes, you would. Also, my take, I think Arby's is very underrated.
I like Arby's.
Yes, I do
100%,
too.
100%.
I'm not going to admit that until I go. Week 14 in the NFL. Oh, I did not update this final game. Let me do that right now. It was still in going until right before we made this podcast episode. The Bears ended up falling to the Packers. Very good football game. Got a bone to pick with Pete Carroll and the Raiders in a second.
Oh my
but,
god.
Yeah.
Skip it.
I don't really want to talk about it other than I think we got hoed by the refs a little bit.
CD going down.
Yeah.
killed us.
And CD going down killed us. But I do think we got hoed a
That
little
killed
bit.
us, and the picks and the pick coming out of halftime really hurt.
Yep. That was brutal. Right off GP's chest. Skull Vikings. Finally got a homer pick for the Vikes. They blanked the Commanders, 31-0, and it happened exactly. If you were to go back and listen, how I told you it was going to happen. Their defense was way too good to keep losing football games, and 9 played all right. Now he has completely forgotten Justin Jefferson exists.
Oh, I know.
So, which is Justin
Oh, it
Jefferson
pisses me off. I have
he's
Justin
got to
Jefferson
start
in
getting
fantasy.
upset at some point. Dude will throw to anybody. He threw to the backup tight end for 2 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson has not seen a touchdown in like weeks. Seahawks dominated the Falcons. Close game at the hat though. The Bills come back and
Dude.
beat the Bengals. The Bengals, Joe Burrow single-handedly threw this game
I
away.
know.
Bengals
Back-to-back
had this one.
interceptions. They had this one. Again, it was a snow game in Buffalo, so you kind of knew that Buffalo could pull this
Yeah.
out. But
Josh Allen also went Superman mode.
yes, he did.
I mean,
He did.
playing
They had to win.
I know, but like so did the Bengals, and Burrow was playing like Superman up until he threw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Back-to-back pace was brutal. It was not perfect timing in Cleveland today. They gave the Titans
It
their
actually was. He
second.
played phenomenal.
Whatever. You lost to the Tennessee Titans.
He
They
did,
gave
actually.
them their
He
He
second
dropped
win.
Stop that
363
talk.
yards,
Yeah, I-
4 touchdowns.
I'm
Against the
good.
Titans. It was playing the Titans, and he couldn't even get the win.
You realize they rushed for 27 yards against the Titans. The Browns
Titans.
did. They rushed for 27 yards.
Moving on.
Shedeur had 29 yards on the ground, 363 in the
Moving
air.
on. I'm not having a glaze fest for a
I'm just
third-string
saying.
NFL
Dylan
quarterback.
Gabriel's not doing that.
Dylan Gabriel's better than Shedeur. The Dolphins handled the
All right.
Jets. The Saints came into Tampa in a very sloppy game. It was raining. The field was just basically non-playable.
I know. Tyler
But-
Shuck has looked really good.
dude,
I mean,
everybody was clowning, including me, on the Tyler Shuck pick. He could develop into their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
I'll say it now.
and I mean, Kellen Moore's a great play caller. He puts Shuck in very good positions. So, pause.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't believe they won.
Me neither. The Jags hammered the Colts. It is officially over for the Colts. Although
Already.
Riley Leonard is not terrible.
I know
He is
pretty
not
good.
terrible. So maybe it's not over for the Colts, but I mean the Jags looked too good in the Achilles tear, man.
Oh.
After already fracturing your fibula, I mean his entire leg is basically just gone at
That
this
was his
point.
other leg.
Oh my God, it's crippled. He's crippled. Get this poor man a wheelchair. Danny Dimes, it was an absolute hell of a run. It is unfortunately
Also,
up to a very
I saw
anticlimactic
something-
end.
Sorry, I saw something about Daniel Jones in college when he broke his collarbone. He went to some like guys he had class with, and they made this like pad. Now they have a company, and he reached out. Apparently, that brace he was wearing, they made for him.
That's pretty
And
awesome.
He's like he's part owner, I think, of some huge protective pad company with these two guys.
This makes a lot of sense. He went to Duke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So this is like I don't know if he's an owner, but he was there basically getting that thing started. So
Good for them. Yeah, the Ravens suck. They lost to the Steelers.
Aaron Rodgers rushing touchdown.
I
Though.
know.
I'm pissed I didn't pick the Steelers. I kind of felt like they
Yeah,
would have
me
won this
too.
week,
This
too.
this was a dumb Ravens pick. I don't know why I picked the Ravens.
Yeah, give a little more.
Okay. I had the Broncos minus 9.5. They were up 10. Final drive, 50 seconds left. It's like down to 20 seconds. They heaved the ball down there. He catches it with 6 seconds left. The Broncos player laid on top of him, got a flag. Still up 10. We should be fine. They're going to try to score a touchdown for pride. No. Harrell brought out the field goal unit and covered on a buzzer-beating field goal. I wanted to shoot the TV. It was my dad is, and of course I've got my dad in the recliner next to me going, damn, that's a bad beat, dude. Yeah, that's a bad beat. And this is the second time this has happened to me this year. If you were to go back to, do you remember the Indiana-Michigan State game? The line was 24.5, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Michigan State was Indiana.
yeah. No, I do remember.
But as time expired. So I've gotten I don't even know if I could be the only person in the world that can say they have gotten hoed by 2 line covering field goals as time expires
For no
in a
reason.
game that was not won or lost by this field goal or could even have a chance of being won or lost by this field goal. That's my tangent. Packers get it done at home against the Bears. Chase was right. Although Caleb Williams is just unable to be sacked, which is
I know.
awesome. He's just
It's
unable to
insane.
be sacked. Micah Parsons was so frustrated. Packers just keep winning. I just don't think they're that good. It's so confusing. The Rams throttled the Cardinals. Poor Jacoby Brissett, man. He's played well. It was just you could just see the frustration on his face. Texans playing the Chiefs right now on Sunday Night Football. Chargers, Eagles on Monday.
Also,
night.
Willow had a touchdown parlay. He hit 4 out of the 5. The only leg that did it was Devontae Adams' touchdown, and they had 45 points, and he didn't score.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teams of the week and teams of the week. My team of the week is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are now at the top of the AFC South. Dominated the Indianapolis Colts, shut down Jonathan Taylor. My team of the week is absolutely the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're firing on all cylinders. Duval. And then my night or week, I don't care what the weather was and what the field conditions were. The Buccaneers could not really afford to lose that game to the Saints. I guess they're even with the Panthers now, who have both lost a game at home against the Saints.
Yeah.
But yeah, now your week. Baker, we got to pull that one out, brother. Luke, your team's the week and now your week.
Team of the week is the Saints. I mean, who dat might be back. No, but Tyler Shuck played really well. Defense showed up too. I mean, obviously the rain really helped them, but hey, you won a football game. And then my now your week. Also, why was Jaden Daniels playing in this
I don't
football
know.
game? Because did he re-aggravate it? I'm pretty sure.
He got something else hurt, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I thought he re-aggravated
He
it.
could have.
Anyways, you lost to the Vikings, which is whatever. You didn't score. I mean, I think they had 2 red zone turnovers, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So, like, yeah.
Did you see him try to throw that block and how he got hurt? Did you see how he got hurt?
I saw he fell down.
No. He did not fall down.
Oh, I thought he fell
He threw a
down.
pick and tried to throw a block and got destroyed by whoever was running downfield for the Vikings. I was like, damn, that's gotta hurt. And then he like didn't get up. I was like, no, not again. But
Well, yeah, that's my team this week.
Jace.
My team of the week is the Lions. They got the biggest win on the slate, being the
stings.
Cowboys and getting in the playoffs. So it sucks to come against my team like that, but it was a massive win for them. And I mean, honestly, kind of a statement win considering how their last couple of weeks have gone. So puts them right back in the hunt. And then the now your week, fortunately, I got to say the Cowboys had a ton of hype going into this game. If they would have won this game, their playoff chances, I think, skyrocketed to like 55, 60%, which is really good odds. And they just didn't get it done. A lot of poor execution. Defense couldn't stop anything. And then the turnovers killed them. And, it just is unfortunate because this Dallas team is a good football team. And it's just going to be a little bit too little too late, unfortunately. And so I think they're almost effectively eliminated. I mean, I know they could probably still win out and make it
They have
interesting,
some-
but
So
if the Eagles beat the Chargers, they're done.
I actually had a gut feeling that we were going to lose this game.
Yeah.
So I was on the Athletic running the, simulator, see what our odds would be, with each individual matchup. I honestly just picked the games like how I thought they would go, and we were in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's
Obviously, have to win out.
yes, I think we win our division. That's
Oh, really?
yeah. I think we went out. We have a very favorable schedule. I think the Commanders. I think they played better with Mariota for whatever reason
Yeah.
right now. I was hoping Mariota was going to be the quarterback, which now he will be. I think they split with the Eagles. I think the Eagles lose against the Chargers. And I think they lose against. They play one other good opponent, like the
Yeah.
Bills or something. But yeah, I think they lose 3 games.
Bills.
Yeah, Bills. I thought so. Yeah, so I think they lose 3 games. But speaking of the Eagles, dun 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 da 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 da. Monday Night Football in a big game for teams, not the Eagles in the NFC East. The Eagles play the LA Chargers. Best bets for this game. Well, we're in agreement. Chargers money line at plus 110, and I like the over on Herbert pass yards. I don't think the Eagles defense has much of a secondary right now against these Charger offense, which is firing on all cylinders. So I like the over at 211.5. Luke, what are your best bets?
I got Chargers money line plus 110, and then I got AJ Brown anytime touchdown at plus 185. Strictly because if you look at every year with the Eagles, like AJ Brown just kind of like complains in the media, and then Jalen Hurts decides I'm going to throw every single football to AJ Brown. So I think he's going to end up scoring, and I hope he ends up scoring so I can win this week in fantasy. So AJ Brown
100%.
anytime touchdown.
Chase, best bets.
Well, I got the Chargers to cover this spread. I think this game is actually going to be very close, but I think the Chargers do pull it out. but they for sure will cover in this game. And then I've got the over 41.5 total points. I think that's way too low. These two teams don't have prolific offenses by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they can both can score at least 21 points, and I think it'll definitely go over that over mark. This is way too low.
Enough. Those are our best bets for tomorrow's Monday Night Football. College basketball picks this week. Gonzaga absolutely throttled Kentucky and Nashville. We were all on the Zags. Iowa State went into Purdue and West Lafayette, Indiana, and did exactly what Luke said they were going to do. They throttled Purdue. Luke was the only one on Indiana. We were all on Purdue. Back and forth affair between Duke and Michigan State. Duke ended up getting a 6-point win, as I was so gracefully reminded by Chase that I had accidentally entered this wrong. Luke and Chase on Duke, me and Michael on the Spartans. I think those are two really good basketball teams, though, and that are going to be competing in March. Indiana lost to Louisville. The producer was on Louisville. We were all pretty big on Indiana. Tough loss for the Hoosiers, but good bounce back for Louisville after a very bad loss against Arkansas on the road.
I wouldn't say very bad.
Okay, fair enough.
It was at Arkansas, but still, Indiana had a really bad loss at Minnesota.
Yeah,
so
very bad. Tough week for Indiana.
Yeah.
Illinois took care of business, double digits against Tennessee in Nashville. Cannot believe, honestly, that pick was right.
It doesn't help that Nate Ahmet, their 5-star freshman, was like 2 of 11 and had 4 points. So let's go.
St. John's beat Ole Miss. We were all in the Johnnies. Barely beat Ole Miss. I don't know if that says more about St. John's or Ole Miss. I think it says more about St. John's, but this isn't the same St. John's team last year.
Yeah.
Arizona did unholy things to Auburn. This Bruce Pearl's Auburn team is dead. This is like the third time Auburn has gotten just run off the court this year. Not to mention going to overtime in their game of season opener against Bethune-Cookman. A lot of alarms in Auburn, Alabama for the basketball team. Zona is legit.
Yeah, they are.
Picks leaderboard. Still in last. Michael with a remarkable 28-7. Luke 23-12. Chase on win percentage 9-5, and I am 22-13. So very tight from that 2 through 4 range in the college basketball picks, which will also have a punishment. Obviously, we differed a lot on this edition of the college basketball Swiss Army Sports Top 25. 7 receiving votes team. 7. We had 7 different teams in our polls that at least pretty much 2 other people didn't have. 1 Michigan, 2 Arizona, 3 Duke, 4 Iowa State, 5 UConn, 6 Houston, 7 Gonzaga, 8 Purdue, 9 Louisville, 10 Michigan State, 11 Vandy, 12 BYU, 13 Bama, 14 Illinois, and this is where we started to get funky. Somehow North Carolina's up at 15 because of our discrepancies with everybody else. Is literally how it went. Like, you 1 through 25, you add all the point totals up. There was like a 10-point drop from Illinois to North Carolina to the rest of the field. Arkansas was close to North Carolina. They're at 16. Here's where we got our major drops. Tennessee at 17 was in like the high teens. Texas Tech at 18 was also in the high teens. Okay, Georgia was at like 15 points.
Who voted? Who has Georgia?
I voted Georgia.
I voted Georgia too. Georgia's a really good basketball
team. I think they're
team.
really good this year.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Really good basketball team.
They score prolifically.
Oh, they do.
I mean, they can score. Iowa at 20.
Who put Iowa?
I got some inside information on Georgia, and I also voted Iowa too. So.
Me and Chase were on the same page for a lot of these. Dude, I think Michigan State's a top 10 team in the country. It's only lost.
If you're the top 20 team in the country, you don't get thrashed by 25.
Let's read the rest of our top 25. Indiana at 21.
Minnesota.
I just don't think there's any other teams better. Clemson
Indiana's
22.
a good basketball team.
LSU 23. Kansas 24. Virginia 25. All right. Just to get a grasp of how tight this was. Okay, USC had 9 points, which usually is good enough for you to be like 23. They're out. Nebraska 7 points out. Oklahoma State 6 points out. St. Mary's got blown out, by the way. by Vanderbilt. 5 points out. Florida, 5 points out. Seton Hall, 2 points out. Wisconsin, 2 points out. All those were receiving votes. Very interesting poll this week. As the season continues, though, this will start to shape up and we will start to agree with each other, I'm sure, more. However, this was my most, like, me trying to calculate this was like all over the place.
Yeah.
Because in football, like, we're pretty consistent. Basketball, I was like, holy crap, who's going to be in? Anyway.
Another thing with basketball, some of these teams haven't played anybody. So, like,
Yeah, hard to judge.
I'll throw Nebraska. I have them in mind because they're undefeated. And they beat 2 like okay teams. So I'm like, okay, y'all are in. And same with Oklahoma State. They've beaten 2 okay teams and they're undefeated. So it's just really hard because there's some of these teams have not played a soul. And like obviously it's not like football where we can watch all these teams on Saturday. You have to like go around and try and find a game to watch that's on your network you have. So
yeah, no, it's definitely a lot different in football. Speaking of networks, last pay-per-view on ESPN in the UFC, 323 was an absolute banger. So, starting off, we had Jan Blachowicz against Guzkov. Blachowicz was the correct pick. Chase missed on that one. Man, Luke hit. That was a good fight. Definitely thought Blachowicz was down and out there in the second round. He was able to recoup and get a. Oh, excuse me, they drew. So I'm sorry that I even did that. Let me, anyway. They drew. Forgot this was like one of the rare draws in UFC. I definitely thought Blachowicz won this fight. I thought that was kind of terrible. Peyton Talbot absolutely dominated Henry Cejudo. Unanimous decision win. Could have gotten the finish. I don't think he wanted to get the finish.
I know, which was
very aggravating for certain people that bet on certain props. But me and Chase were good on Talbot. Luke missed on Cejudo. Then this was Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. Controversial TKO in round 2. Could have been an early stoppage. Do I think Taira wins the fight? Yes. However, this is the first time Moreno's ever been finished, and it was it was a controversial stoppage. It definitely was early. I'll go ahead and say it was definitely early.
I love it though.
Yeah,
Bank
me too.
account did too.
Your bank account did love this. Me and Chase hit on Taira. Moreno, Luke missed. Okay, this was the most anticlimactic co-main event I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We were like 20 seconds into the fight. Van wins by TKO. He is your new flyweight champion. Via Pantoja snapping his arm in half, which was pretty brutal. Fell backwards after Van hit and just snapped his arm in half. And if you haven't seen it, go watch the video. I think it's interesting to watch those videos, but it was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And then Piotr Jan put on a 5-round clinic against Merab Dvalishvili and won by decision, which no one saw coming. The only reason I thought Piotr Jan could win this fight was by knockout. However, Jan was able to get it done by decision. I mean, it was a clinic. He put a clinic on, beat Merab up, kept getting out of takedowns, winning on the feet. I mean, Merab was bloodied and bruised, and Piotr Jan looked like he just got done maybe sparring a lesser opponent with headgear on. So that was UFC 323. Very entertaining pay-per-view. Let's talk a little World Cup. The groups are set. I'm going to go through each group and kind of give like a preliminary thoughts here with Chase. Luke, you can interject anytime you feel you need. Group A, and you've got these Euro playoffs, which I'm going to get pulled up now.
I'm going to cut you off before anything. Are we going to do like a bracket thing for this?
Absolutely,
Okay.
we are.
Okay.
When it gets a little closer, we're going to go through all our predictions.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just kind of like a, thought, early thoughts. So yes, I won't go by group, but early thoughts are I think the U.S. got a very favorable group unless Turkey qualifies in playoff seed, then I think it becomes a little bit more difficult. I think the U.S. should be able to get wins against Paraguay and Australia. Even if you lose to Turkey, then you should be able to get through. I think Canada's group is pretty favorable for Canada. We'll let it reset. Um, I think Haiti in Group C is they're not happy. They've got three really tough opponents in Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland. Haiti will definitely finish bottom of that group. Um, I think Germany has pretty much a bye to the knockout round. I mean, with Ecuador being the second best team in that group, it's gonna be pretty slight winning for Germany. Group F could shape up to be really interesting, especially if Poland qualifies out of Euro Playoff B. Um, very intrigued to see what happens in that respect. Group G, Belgium should have a cakewalk to the. What'll be interesting out of Group G is who finishes second. I think it's kind of a toss up between Egypt, Iran, and hell, even New Zealand could get into it. Group H, I think, is the second group of death here. I think the group of death is Group L with England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. I think Group H is tough though. I think Spain and Uruguay are two good program or clubs that are countries. But I think Saudi Arabia is sneaky here. I think Saudi Arabia played well in the Gold Cup, and I think they could end up being the second team out of Group H. And then my matchup to watch for as I finish my analysis, I do think England wins Group L, but I think it is a group of death. I think France Norway is going to be a very enticing matchup. I
Banger.
think Erling Haaland could win this group in Group I for Norway. Chase,
Mhm.
what do you think?
So I'm going to give a group by group analysis. Obviously, Group A, I think people are sleeping on the draw. Everybody kind of acted like it was a pretty easy draw from Mexico. I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging than
I
people
agree.
think. South Korea plays Mexico really well every time they play, and South Africa, as we saw in the 2010 World Cup, has the capability to be more athletic than Mexico. Maybe not play better, but they can maybe luck a point out of that game. And then obviously, if Ireland, which Ireland I think is the team that will probably make it in through that playoff, makes it really interesting for Mexico. And I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit, Will. I think Canada got a little bit tougher draw because we're looking at it most likely being Italy
If
coming
it
out of
is
the Euro
Italy,
playoff
yes, it's a
A.
tougher draw.
It's
Wales, I
probably
don't
going
think
to be
so.
Italy. So Italy and Switzerland. Switzerland is a very, very good team, and Italy is probably on the level of Canada. So that's a tough draw. Qatar is not going to really challenge Canada, but that's a tough group for Canada. And then Group C, I think is borderline group of death. I think with Haiti in there makes it less of a group of death because you're looking with a lot of third place teams qualifying this year. You're looking at probably three teams coming out of Group C, but Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, all three of those teams are playing really good soccer at the moment. And then US, I think the US outside of Argentina, the US got about the best possible group. We've beaten Paraguay and Australia. I think that continues. We beat them with our B team. Even if Turkey makes the playoff, I think that our top team can at least get a draw away from them, and I think Turkey maybe slips up through the group. I think we have to win this group.
I agree.
If you look at how everything else goes, if the US wins this group, we get a third place matchup in the round of 32, then we get Belgium, who has not been great. So we're looking at a team that could potentially have a really easy path to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. So I think the US has to go all in and win this group here. Group E, I agree with you. Germany is going to win it, but Ecuador is a sneaky team. Ecuador was really good in South American qualifying, so I think Ecuador is a little sneaky there. Group F will be very interesting if Sweden's the team that qualifies.
Agree.
I think Japan is going to perform well. Netherlands are obviously the Netherlands, and they're one of the slept on better teams from Pod A. And then
On back
Group
to Group
G
F.
here,
You're not giving my Polish boys
yeah.
a chance in Group F if
I give them a chance. I think Lewandowski, I think they have a chance. Sweden on paper is easily the best team out of playoff B, but Sweden has not played well together. So I I really I could see Poland getting in there, and
Chesney.
I think Poland could finish ahead of Tunisia, and they can pull a result against Netherlands and Japan and qualify as either that second or third place
We
team.
did
So I
draw,
think
and we were in the same group as Netherlands in Euro qualifiers, and we drew, and I think we lost
exactly,
by
and
one.
didn't perform too bad. I mean,
Yep.
finished second in that group. So I could see, I mean, I could really see Poland doing something if they are able to get past Sweden, which I think they can, because Sweden is not played the best as of late. Like they limped into this playoff round. Like they weren't even supposed to make the playoffs. So I think that Poland could get it done for sure. So I would have a ton of optimism, especially with getting drawn in that group. I mean, that's about as good of a draw from a pot four team that you can
I
get,
agree.
you know? So I would be happy if I were y'all. And then Group G, I think is really weak. This is not the same Belgium team that we've seen in the last two tournaments. They have not produced a ton of new world class talent. They're kind of living on Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, who are past their primes to say the least. Thibaut Courtois is still a phenomenal goalkeeper, but this Belgium side is not as good. Egypt, they obviously have the firepower with Mo Salah up top. Um, but he's getting up there in age, and you know, we'll see. They have that Man City striker up there too. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name, but
You're
it'll
good.
come to me. Oh, 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 it's Marmoush. Marmoush is very good. So he's good for Egypt, and I think Egypt will probably finish second in this group. Iran and New Zealand don't really have a ton, and especially with Iran, they're having issues just getting their federation into the United States with all the visa issues. So that it's not going to be good for them. I think this is probably one of the weaker groups, and the good news is they're lined up with the U.S. If the U.S. is able to win their group, that's who we're playing a bunch of Group G
That could
teams.
get
So
explosive.
phenomenal pathway. Group H, I agree with you, is a sneaky group of death. I don't think it's the group of death. I think it's a sneaky good group, though. Uruguay obviously has struggled over the last couple months, but they had a great qualifying run in common ball. Spain, obviously finishing second in the Nations League to Portugal, winning the Euros. Spain is one of the best teams in the world. Saudi Arabia has been very good over the last couple months in the Middle Eastern qualifying and like you said, well, gave the U.S. the run for their money in the Gold Cup
Yep.
both times. It wasn't an easy game, and Cape Verde had a phenomenal run in African qualifying. So I think this is a sneaky, really good group. I do think Spain and Uruguay make it out, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher than people think. Group I is my group of death just because France, Senegal, Norway. Well, I mean, it's absolutely
It would be my group of
insane.
death
That
if that was FIFA playoff one. If Jamaica was in that
Yeah,
group,
Jamaica
I
got in,
think
but
it
I
would have
think
been an
Bolivia will
absolute
actually give
yeah.
Bolivia will get in and give them a run for their money. So I think France, Senegal, a lot of so I don't know how much you know about France,
Yes, I
but
do.
France has a lot of African colonies.
From
And
Senegal.
so a lot of the players, because they're dual nationals, choose to represent France. So, but they're all from Africa. So when they play like Senegal or Cameroon or Nigeria, a lot of their families are from that area of the country. So it's a very tough, weird game for them. So that's always a unique draw whenever France plays any African team. And then obviously Norway had the best qualifying round out of anybody. Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard are phenomenal, and Sorloth, the Atletico Madrid striker, has been really good for Norway
Yeah,
too.
Norway's
So
been very
Group
sneaky.
I is going to be very tricky. France is, I think, probably the most talented team in the world, but it's gonna be tricky. And then Group J, FIFA corruption just threw Argentina a ball. Algeria, Austria, Jordan. Argentina's gonna get 9 points. It's not even gonna be close. Um, I think Austria probably finishes second in this group, but I mean Messi gets another ball from FIFA. Portugal and Colombia, that'll be a really unique game, but I think even if Jamaica makes this group, Portugal and Colombia will easily handle Uzbekistan and Jamaica. And I think Group K, though, is a tricky group. And then Group L, I agree with you, Will. I think this is actually the group of death here. And England, Croatia have a lot of history.
Yep.
Ghana has always been known to pull an upset, and Panama has been really good over the last couple months. Obviously,
Played
played
well in
really
the Gold
well
Cup.
in the Nations League. I mean, Panama's tricky. I'm not saying they're a super talented team, but they can pull a result against
I think
an England team
yeah.
that's going to sit back, and Croatia is getting on up there in years. So I think Group L is a really tough group, but it's going to be really interesting to see. As a United States of America fan, we could not have had a better draw, have a better path to a run. I think if this team makes it to the quarters, anything can happen. maybe the World Cup comes home.
I would
So,
love
I
it.
don't know.
I'm hearing
I would
future.
love it though.
There's
And
an absolute future out there for the U.S. to win this World Cup.
there is a future, and this is the best draw. Like if you look at our last couple World Cups, this is the best scenario we've had. I mean, since probably 1994. So I'm looking for this USA team to make a really deep run with what they got. All the players are already thinking that too. Poach is going to have the boys ready, so it'll be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see. We pivot that into how we end every weekend show. Best things that happened this weekend. I will start UFC 323. It was very fun with Luke and Chuck. Pounded a couple bruises and cuts and got after it on the gambling side and came up with massive profits on Saturday night. So UFC 323 was elite. The conference championship games are always fun. With all the games super competitive, no, but it was just fun to watch all these games go through and all the intense battles to essentially get in the playoff. And then the World Cup draw. It gets me excited for the World Cup. It's going to be in the United States. If Poland if they qualify, I will be at a game. I can guarantee that. I will try to go no matter what. I've got a couple dogs in this fight. English on my dad's side, Polish on my mom's side. So I both, root for both those squads. USA, obviously number one from the U.S. And then, obviously I pull from Canada because of relations. So we got a couple dogs in this fight. I'm very excited for the World Cup. That could potentially feature all four of them, which would be great. Luke, what are your best things that happened this weekend?
Gambling, because obviously I got trashed on Saturday, and I thought I was dreaming when I had $160 in my DraftKings account.
Brother, you were not dreaming.
I was not dreaming. I made a bunch of money on Saturday, and then I made money today just betting on college basketball. So it was great. And then rage baiting. I literally have been getting these Notre Dame TikToks on my feed, and I'm just like rage baiting all these like 12-year-old Notre Dame fans, and it's very entertaining. It has made my day so far. And then the Tigers got a good win this weekend versus Baylor. So, I mean, they've looked much better in recent games. So, I mean, maybe we'll win the American, maybe, because that's our only shot of getting in. So,
Pretty much. Jace, what happened this weekend?
First off, that was a massive win for Memphis over a really good Baylor team, honestly. But I agree with you, Will. The World Cup draw, it got me so excited, got my family really excited. Obviously out here in Houston, we got 7 World Cup games. We've got the GOAT Cristiano Ronaldo playing 2 in Houston. England's playing up in Dallas. I mean, it is the best time to be alive, to be a soccer fan, especially in the United States with the World Cup being here. U.S. got a great draw, like I've said. I am super pumped for this World Cup. June 2026 cannot come soon enough for me. Secondly, snow games from this weekend. Obviously, we saw that Friday night, Troy versus JMU. Obviously, we don't love that for Evan. Shout out Evan, but
man.
it adds an element of fun to college football. And then today, watching Buffalo versus Cincinnati, what's better than a Buffalo Bills Cincinnati Bengals snow game? I feel like that happens almost every year now.
Yeah.
It was a great game too, but I just love snow games. I mean, it just adds an element to it. It's just something magical about a December snow game football. But lastly, I'm kind of on the same line as you, Luke. College football Twitter has been absolutely phenomenal this weekend. Just the different fan bases going back and forth. Have loved seeing everybody get on BYU's Twitter and just absolutely clowning them for, all their ridiculous takes. Even after their loss this weekend, a lot of BYU's fans still had them at like 5 and 6 in the playoff and talking about how, they lost to the number 1 team in the country twice. So it's always a good time when you get to see people trolling. All the burners on Twitter were out this weekend. So it was a great weekend on college football Twitter. So
100%. Well, that does it for episode 28 of Swiss Army Sports. This has been Will Spain, Chase Cross, and Luke Wallman. Until Wednesday, we break down the Army-Navy game. College basketball takes more of a forefront to our stage, as well as hockey and the NBA. So tune in on Wednesday for a very different kind of episode.